Good evening, everyone. My name is Amber Scott. I'm the president of the Gananoque Thousand Islands Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome everyone here to our final debate of this mayoral and council running and for the town of Gananoque. We begin this evening by acknowledging that we are meeting on the Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. Long before today, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been the stewards of this place, who have walked these shores and sailed this river. Tonight, we turn our attention to the candidates running for council in the town of Gananoque. However, before I introduce you to our candidates, I'll go over the format for this evening. We will begin this with, we will begin with each candidate's opening statements. They will have a 1-minute opportunity to give their opening statements, the order of which was determined just a few moments ago. After this, we will go directly into the debate portion of this evening. I will ask each candidate a question in which they will have 1 minute to respond. Following this, each of the remaining candidates will have only 45 seconds to respond before we return to the original candidate for an additional 30-second closing recap. Then we will move to the second candidate with the second question and continue in the same format. We ask candidates to watch for the green, yellow, and red flags, indicating when you have 30 seconds, green, 10 seconds, yellow, and out of time, red. You must stop on the red flag. I will let you finish your sentence, and then I will give you a friendly reminder. At the end of our questions, each candidate will have 1 minute to give their closing statements before we close out the debate portion of the evening. At this point, candidates and guests may return to the front lobby to mingle and ask any additional questions they may have firsthand. Now, to introduce the candidates to you, we have Colin Brown, Bruce Burt, Catherine Christensen, Matt Harper, Patrick Kirkby, Anne-Marie Coyner, Vicky Leakey, David Osmond, Marion Springer. And now, without further ado, let's move on to our first candidate and their opening statement. 1 minute each. Catherine, we'll start with you.
So there's some people here that want to come in. Do we have extra chairs? Are there some extra chairs in the lobby? Yeah, there's a few here as well. And time's up. Yeah. And there's some up here. Do you need a seat? Yep, there's one up by Jean and yeah. Don't you dare start. You can come on through. You can come right up the aisle. Yep. Okay, this is what I do. Yep.
There's a spot right here, too, and yep. Another one back here.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to start, and that way it won't make these folks feel quite so uneasy. I'm Catherine Christensen. I've lived and worked in Gananoque for the last 40 years. I've worked primarily in the arts and in tourism. The Thousand Islands Playhouse was the reason I came in 1982. There was a group of about 12 of us that started this theatre, and it's become an economic driver here in Gananoque. At this time, I run I have a family-run construction company that I work with, and we are centered here in Gananoque, and we work in the entire area. Of all of the things I would bring to council, I would say my expertise in tourism is number one, and that's all the time I need.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And David, your turn for the opening statement.
Hello, my name is David Osmond. You already know that. I just waved a couple seconds ago. I've lived in Gananoque since grade 2, and I'm 45 years old now, so it's been a really long time, and there's my wife and my son and my uncle. Good timing. Thanks for coming on time. A little bit nervous, not used to standing here. I used to do a lot of public speaking, but if this was a theater, I wouldn't be singing, and there'd be nobody here if I was. Couple things. I am currently the manager of skills training and economic development with St. Lawrence College. So my background in the last 15, 20 years has all been federal, provincial, and now broader public service. I only have 30 seconds left. I ran out when I had 2 minutes, so imagine when I've got 30 seconds. Spent the last 4 years on council. Know many of the faces in this room. Don't know some of you. I will be sticking around. I'll be the last person here, and if you have any questions, please approach me and I'll answer any questions. I look forward to meeting you, and I've got about 6 seconds left. Proud of a lot of the accomplishments. 10 seconds left, and if you have any questions, like I said, I'll share them with you, and I hope to get a chance to do a little bit more sharing tonight. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, on to you.
Thank you to the Chamber for putting on tonight's event. From my experience as a board member in recent years, the Chamber and particularly the events committee's work sometimes goes unnoticed, so thank you, Amber. My name is Colin Brown. I'm a lifelong resident of Gananoque. My family owns and operates several hotels and commercial properties in the community. Brown Hospitality has been in business for over 50 years, and I've been working closely with for the day-to-day operations over the last 10. I believe in customer service, and when there is an issue with something the town is responsible for, it needs to be taken care of promptly and properly. My experience varies, and I wear many different hats within our company. In order to succeed, you need to do the work, and you need to be prepared. I also have some experience in development. In 2017, I rezoned a single-family dwelling home on Birch Street, formerly known as Lindop's Cable TV. It is now a 5-unit apartment building. Experiences like this, dealing with the town staff and council to complete my vision, along with my business experience and strong understanding of the tourism industry, will be a huge asset at the council table if I am privileged to be elected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, your turn for opening statements.
Okay. Hi, I am Vicki Leakey. What I bring as a strength, of course, is my accounting background. I was an auditor for 25 years, public sector, municipalities, completing asset management plans, information returns. But most importantly to me is my passion for this town. I've lived and ate and entertained here, and it is home, and it is a wonderful place, and I want to work to make it as best as it can be. I'm worried about the next couple of years, so that's where my accounting background, we need to be conscious of the people that live here and the impact of the recession, slowdown, or whatever it is. I will take that into consideration. I do care about, I don't have any agenda. I care about this town staying and being the lovely place it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, you're next.
Good evening. I'm Marion Springer. There was something above and beyond the beauty of the rivers and the islands that makes Gananoque unique. It's the residents that build a life here. This is not a bedroom community. That small town, friendly, corner gas kind of feeling is what kept me here to stay. Gan, my home for the past 20 years. That does not mean we shouldn't grow and embrace new concepts. We just need to do it in a responsible manner that ensures its roots are front and center. The role of your council is to consider the well-being of the community by managing budgeting processes, giving priority to basic needs, and promoting social and economic development. I will honor this mandate and make an impartial decision to every vote on the council table. Knowledge, experience, passion, curiosity, and motivation is what I bring to the conversation. Through a transparent method of teamwork, Gananoque will prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie, your turn.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Coiner, and I'm excited to be here tonight and looking forward for the next 4 years of the town's future. My vision for Gananoque at that time is that it will continue as a tourist destination. We also need to build more housing, affordable for young families, as well as our senior community. Transportation to and from Kingston is important to bring individuals not only to their workplaces, but also for their social well-being, whether it be friends and families or medical appointments. We need to expand our recreation programs for the community, young and old. It is Council's work to promote policies to enable these visions to fruition, and it takes money. It is important that we manage our dollars wisely. Property taxes and water sewer rates must be affordable to sustain our vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, your turn.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Burt. I have lived and worked in the town of Gananoque for 55 years. I was raised here and raised my family here. My wife of 43 years and I are both retired and enjoying it. My 40 years of employment have taught me how to listen and how to deal with situations with compassion, integrity, and honesty. I believe these skills would be an asset to council. The next 4 years are going to come with many challenges, and unfortunately our community is not alone. We need to have council that will work together with integrity, common sense, to face these challenges head on. My hope is with newly elected town council that we can answer these challenges with an open mind and having our citizens' interests come first. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Big thank you for having me, and the biggest thank you goes to everybody who's organized this evening tonight. My name is Patrick Kirkby. I'm a lifelong resident of Gananoque. I'm a grade 2 teacher at a French public school in Kingston. I work as a first mate at City Cruises in the summertime. I'm also a musician. Now, something that I've heard recently from the community that's really stuck with me in my head is that Gananoque is behind with the times. I'm unique because I'm the youngest candidate running here tonight, and I offer a fresh and a new perspective to the community. I stand for youth, listening to seniors, who, by the way, are a large percentage of the population of this town. I stand for local businesses, and ultimately, I want to be a voice for the residents of this town. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the night.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And Matt.
Good evening, Gananoque. I'd like to start with a thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. My name's Matt Harper. I'm 34 years old, a Gananoque lifer. Over the last 4 years, people have come to me and asked me how I like being on council. I tell them I love it, but it takes 3 hours to get groceries. I can't say it's a thankless job, although it often feels that way. I can say it's very rewarding in many ways. My priorities moving forward are going to be continue to work on youth and senior initiatives, tourism and events, public transit, and affordable housing solutions. We need to build our reserves back up, cut back on the nice-to-have projects, and focus on the must-haves. The world moves too fast for any municipality to stand still, so maintenance is a must. I also believe we need to continue to promote culture in our community. The growing trend of art galleries and theaters. We need to support the BIA, the Rotary Club, and the Lions, and any other organization I may be missing. That's about all the time I have. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you very much, Matt. Before we move on to the questions, just a reminder, and it's totally up to you, it would be lovely if phones could be put to silent, just so that way we don't get a phone call in the middle of someone's very short time to respond. And now, without further ado, our first question is for Miss Catherine Christensen. Over the last couple of years, we've seen an increase in crime rates in Gananoque, including theft and vandalism. What social services would you propose bringing to the area to counteract this problem?
I am the right person to ask this question. I put my signs out. Colin and I both put some signs out at the old Burger King. And a couple days later, we drove by, and both of us, I was like, what happened? Did we put them in the wrong spot? I actually called town hall to find out if somebody had removed them, because I wasn't sure exactly of the rules. And it turned out that, in fact, nobody knows what happened to them. So I suspect that somebody took them. And I suspect that whoever took them didn't have anything better to do. And I would like to see some programming around. We have some new assets. The Gord Brown Canada 150 Memorial Rink. We can find so many things to do. And with the folks who are in Town Hall, Lori and Doug, and there's a whole team there that are putting together programming. The more programming we've got, the better we are.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And David, your turn for your response.
Thank you. I think it's really important that we manage expectations, especially when it comes to crime. So I know Matt and I and Councillor Anderson have done some work with the Chief of Police and our Fire Chief around some programming. The burnout programming has been very, very successful. But we also have to understand where some of these problems are coming from and what control we have as a municipality. Turning doors at courts. Our police officers are dropping people off and charging them in Brockville, and by the time our officers are home, that person's already home having dinner. So there's some issues there in the court system. There's also mental health, and we need to try and look at some programs that focus and narrow it down, work with community partners like Keys, like the Boys and Girls Club, and other entities in Brockville. Girls Inc. is another fantastic program. Not all the solutions are going to come from council, and you probably don't want that because we might not always be the 7 smartest people in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin?
So obviously in the last couple of years, we've experienced the pandemic, and a lot of people are going through some hardships. So whether it's kids and families losing their jobs, you know, when I was a kid, I remember there was a lot of social activities. There was a youth center in town. There was a lot of, there was soccer on weekends. There was baseball, you know, the hockey community. You know, it's important that we have those social programs that the town offers to keep kids busy and keep them out of trouble. You know, if they don't have the guidance or somebody leading them and showing them the right way, you know, it's important we have community leaders that guide them in the right direction. Because my tires actually, 2 years ago, they got slashed. And in Gananoque, I woke up, I was like, are you kidding me? Sorry.
I can attest to that. It was us that fixed his tires. And Vicki, up to you.
Well, I believe that there's a couple of issues driving these crimes. Mental illness has been mentioned, drug use, mischief, those just needing money. I believe it's going to take a bit of a public forum to get an understanding of what help is needed first for these individuals. I don't want to speculate what they need. I want to know. And that's going to take getting in and knowing a lot more about what the issues are. Then I don't want to put good money after bad, setting up more sports. We do have a lot of activities. We need to know what the problem is to be able to fix it. So that's what I would expect to do. More public consultation. And let's try and see if we can help.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, your turn.
Gananoque has a document called the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan with 17 recommendations on how to move forward. We need to implement that plan. More importantly, let's look at the causes and mitigate them. An ounce of a prevention goes a long way. But the municipality can't do it on its own. We need to work with community partners to band together and work together. We need to provide, the community needs to provide feedback. Is there sufficient lighting, or do we need more youth activities? As far as the social services are concerned, they're administered by the county. The mayor needs to promote that at that level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie?
Thank you. There is a police report that is put out every quarter, and I think what we need to do is to evaluate those police reports to identify what the problem areas are. We have been successful in deterring crime through police presence and walking the beat. There is a social worker on staff to assist. We need to work with social services to assist the police force and determine what the root causes are, and then continue to provide youth programs at the BIRM or the YMCA. These have been successful as well. Let's promote poverty and harm reduction programs and help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, you're up next.
I believe before we start checking into what is available for the town as far as programs, social programs, we should investigate the root of the problem. Is it bored teenagers? Is it quick cash to support an addict? Or an addiction before an addiction problem, or is it both? There are programs available such as the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services and the CMHA. We should look into making sure that we utilize these programs to the best of their ability for this town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, your turn.
Now, this is one of the reasons why I even ran in the first place. I care a lot about the youth in this town. There is a crime problem. I commend everybody who's involved with the Burnout project in town. My girlfriend who's sitting here tonight, sorry to draw attention to you. She actually worked at the Burnout, and some of the feedback I got was that kids, they just want somebody to talk to. They want to get away, and they want stability in their life. I think we need to focus on what we already have in this town. One of the things we definitely can use is the library. It's a place that's open. It's open during the winter. It's warm. There's an internet connection. They can print. There's books. There's movies. But ultimately, I would like to see some sort of a youth center in this town as well. But focus on what we have already in the town and use it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, you're up.
All right, I'm in a tough spot. Everybody's already said all the good stuff. Number 9. So I've been involved with this for 4 years. I'm very passionate about it. Patrick's hitting the nail on the head. I've been the chair of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Group. I worked at the high school with the Municipal Drug Strategy Group, and I spent countless hours talking to kids about what's cool and what's not. And I still don't know what's cool, but I know they want a space to hang out. We've somewhat provided that in the summertime, and the library or any other town facility could provide that in the wintertime. But programming and mental health is a big part of the equation. If kids have nothing to do, they find something to do on the streets, and it may not be the most productive thing to do. And the police chief, our new police chief's great. Have a great night. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Matt. And Catherine, back to you to recap.
So I guess I'll just reiterate that I really think that having programming in place for youth is paramount here. And when the gentlemen who've been talking, or the people who've been talking about the policing, I know years ago when I was in tie-up, the police chief, Kai Lu, came by and wanted to start a program called the Yippee program, and I believe it's still in place, and it was an amazing program where we had people on the street, youth and the police on the street, and it helped. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, this next question is for you to start. What do you think is the greatest problem facing Gananoque and the council at the present moment? If elected, re-elected, what steps would you take to mitigate them?
Any chance I can get an extra couple minutes? It's a big question. Well, first of all, I think we also need to recognize we're lucky what we have here. We want to compare ourselves to other communities. We have a great police force. We're lucky to know that if there's an issue, odds are the police know where it is. They know the person's first name. They know the person's last name. When it comes to other issues, obviously housing is there. Transportation is key. Neither one of these problems are going to be easy to fix because they're not unique to Gananoque. So again, I don't want to make false promises because the situations aren't necessarily unique to Gananoque. We need to listen to community partners and see what ideas are out there. Might come from somebody in this room. Other big challenges, obviously, financial. The federal government, provincial government downloading different criteria to us where we need to have different things in our different amounts of money in our reserves for our capital assets. That is not a sexy conversation, but it is an important conversation. It will impact taxes. So Patrick said it best. We need to focus on the resources that we have now and try to avoid new big projects because it's going to hit us twice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin?
So obviously, if we take a drive down to the boat launch or down by the marina, we clearly have an issue with parking, whether it's at the municipal parking lot or down by the PUC building. I have a neighbor who's a lifelong resident of Gananoque, and she can't go down and walk around the berm during the summertime without paying for parking. And she's a tax-paying citizen of Gananoque. She has to park actually by the Thousand Islands Playhouse and then walk all the way down just for her little walk. So I think one of the major challenges that we're going to face as a council is figuring out the parking problem. I'm also a boat owner. I have a boat. I have a 40-foot trailer. And Gananoque is a prime destination for boaters throughout North America. When it's not easily accessible to launch your boat, we have a big problem there.
Thank you very much, Colin. Just before we move on, sorry, 2 seconds. Is there any free seats? We have a few more people that came in, if you're looking. They're kind of spread apart, but if you are, you feel free. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for waiting, Vicki.
Oh, no problem. Problems in Gananoque and what council can do. Well, again, I am worried about the next couple of years. I think that we have to be prudent. I am not a councillor that will say we can't raise taxes, we got to look. That's not the point. The point is right now we're going to have high costs and we have demographics that not everyone is flushed enough to cover what they can afford to pay for on a monthly basis. Affordable housing, water, sewer billing, council expenses in the town, operations. We need to talk with our employees and go, are there any efficiencies that can mitigate costs and operations within the town of Gananoque? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion.
If you're building a house, what is the first thing you need to determine? Financial stability. Without that, how can we plan? The first thing your new council will be looking at is the budget. I have reviewed the asset management document. We have failing infrastructure that is going to require a lot of money to fix. As a council, we need to thoroughly analyze its operations and prioritize capital spending. Provincial downloading is happening. I believe we need to invest in a human resources overhaul. We have added a lot of staff lately. Some of these salaries have been funded by a grant, but the costing of space, equipment, and additional management pressures are not being accounted for in these decisions.
Thank you very much, Marianne. And Marie, your turn.
So, what do I think is the greatest problem facing Gananoque? For me, it's affordability. Property taxes and water sewer rates is something that is consistently talked about as being unaffordable. We need to rein in the spending and prioritize our projects that promote the well-being of the community. It starts with the budget. The budget needs an overhaul. It needs to be looked at line on line or holistically to try and find the savings. We need more housing and land development, but that can be covered in the official plan. And the official plan is the roadmap of how we feel about our community. How do we feel about it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, your turn.
I believe that our greatest problem is ensuring that the proper medical services are in place for now and the future. We need to have these in place if we want our town to have any chance to grow. Council will need to check with provincial government to see what is available to deal with the issue or what the town may have to do to remedy this possible shortfall in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, your turn.
Well, being honest, I think there's a lot to discuss and there is a lot to learn. I think we need to support what we already have. I think local businesses, we need to listen to them. We need to hear their concerns. Perhaps we can discuss policy to better help them. Affordable housing, this is something that I dealt with at the start of my career 3 years ago. It was incredibly difficult to buy property here in town. I have friends, getting some echo there, I have friends older than me that are still living in their parents' basements. So not very fun times. I also think crime, there's a problem in town, and we definitely need to keep youth out of trouble. I'm going to manage these challenges by being receptive, listening, being open, and asking questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, you're up.
Okay, of course, broken record here. We need more programming for youth to keep them out of trouble and help them get through these strange times. Programming not only for youth but for seniors as well, just so we have some activities and things to do in the wintertime. We have budgetary concerns. Parking is certainly one of them. Budgetary challenges, though, with rising insurance rates, rising mortgage rates for everybody, QP agreements that are rising. Operational efficiencies can certainly be had. We recently formed a Public Works Ops group so we could better understand the day-to-day operation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine.
So I think one of the biggest problems, I'm not sure if it is the biggest problem, but one of them is stagnation. I think that perhaps it's something because of COVID, because people have slowed down during COVID, but we need to get going again. We need to encourage housing. We need to make it easier for people to build, to develop, to create more housing, and that brings jobs, that brings all of the good stuff with it. And I think that is the first concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, if you'd like to recap.
Sorry. Lots of conversations about parking. It's a slippery slope. I think it's one of those things that we don't, as a tourism town, we want to make sure that we maintain our desirability. If we don't have a parking problem on our world-class waterfront, we have a bigger problem. We have an extremely walkable town. We do need to look at accessibility so people who don't have the ability to walk downtown can walk downtown. We want to share that waterfront. We want it to be a busy place. We shouldn't be able to go down there on a long weekend at 11 o'clock and necessarily find a parking spot, because if we can, our restaurants aren't full, our hotels aren't full, and people don't have jobs. So just some perspective there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. For our next question, we're going to start with Colin. If elected, what project or idea would you choose to champion or promote, and what would your priorities be within the first year of council?
So there's no question we have an affordable housing problem in Gananoque. And when I look around at our neighboring communities, Kingston, There's a lot of developers that are doing a lot of good in those communities, whether expanding on the west end or the east end. And I don't see any developers in Gananoque. So during my campaigning, I've done some calls, and I have some friends at Bar Homes in Carrico. And I asked them, why aren't you interested in Gananoque? Well, in recent years, they were kind of turned off with how they were dealt with certain dealings in town. So we need to make Gananoque a desirable place for developers to come and spend money, because we have an affordable housing problem here, and I don't see people lining up to build anything anytime soon. So it's important that we have working relationships with contractors, whether we provide incentives or many different ideas that we can accommodate them to bring them to town and help develop the town. Because I was born in 1992 and the population was 5,200, and I drove by there today and it was still 5,200. So.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, you get to go.
I believe there's a problem with communication in the town. I believe there's a problem with communication at Town Hall. I frankly like Committee of the Whole. I like to have more engagement with the public. When we make decisions at council, they have to be for the community on the whole. I do not have any specific goals or focus. I'm more interested in making sure that we have all the sheep in the yard, and young people, old people, families, affordable housing. There's a whole bunch of issues, but I like public forums to have a discussion to nail what the real need is in order for us to then find a solution.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion?
I have two projects that I would like to champion. The first one is bringing accessibility to the forefront, both attitudinally and structurally. Accessibility needs to be incorporated at the beginning of all projects, not seen as an add-on at the end. Fixing deficiencies afterwards is extremely costing. The town has an aged-friendly document. What is the plan for implementation? I initiated the former Accessibility Committee in 2014 and would like to bring it back. Always by the people, for the people, all decisions through an accessibility lens. Everyone benefits from the features of an inclusive design. My second project is to enhance relationships with current community organizations and encourage the development of new grassroots programs. Community is the fabric of society.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne-Marie, your turn. You guys can finish a sentence. I'm not going to be that harsh. I promise you, I'm not that mean.
Thank you. What is the project or idea that I would choose to champion or promote? My passion is dollars and cents. And I mean, look at a graph and I can tell you all sorts of stuff about it. I can read statistics with an incredible intuitiveness. So for me, it would be the effective management of our limited resources, reviewing the budget process from a holistic point of view to realize savings. My motto is actually look after the pennies and the dollars will follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Bruce, your turn.
The project that I would choose to promote in the first year would be an independent senior center and affordable senior housing. Again, working with all levels of government to help finance these projects and help provide a building for the center without worrying about where to go when they get bored. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, your turn.
One, a youth center in town. There's a crime problem, and as a teacher, I can directly see how an unstable household really affects a child. But ultimately, I think we need to concentrate on what we have in the town already, but ultimately I would like to see a center for youth. Two, a backpack drive. I would like an event in the summertime where members from the community can donate a backpack, school supplies, clothes, money to less fortunate children going back to school to better prepare them. Thank you very much. Finally, almost forgot one thing, my priorities: listening, learning, and working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And Matt, come on up.
Okay, how could we pick just one, right? That it's a job that has many facets to it. Youth center is certainly a big one to think about. / senior center, it could be the same building, just not at the same times, of course. I would like to continue to chair the tourism advisory panel and promote events in town, and shoulder season, most importantly, Marina Master Plan Working Group. So lots of projects on the go, and I'd just like to, if I'm lucky enough to be re-elected, to complete these projects, or at least get to a point where they're very serviceable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine?
So all of these are fabulous projects and ideas, and if I was on council with any of these folks, I would definitely support them. What I do is tourism. What I have done is tourism and the arts, and that is where I would focus on what I do well. Happy to learn and help and participate in everything else, but in the tourism industry, I have worked locally, regionally, provincially, nationally and internationally to market this region and to put us in a position where we are known internationally as a destination. And I would continue to do that, bringing some synergy to the facets that we have of tourism right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, your turn.
One thing we haven't talked about yet that I know I spent a lot of time on in the last 4 years is the environment. There's not a whole lot of municipality, 5,500 people do to stop global warming per se, but there's a lot we can do to protect our rivers. So some of those projects like styrofoam bans, we want to keep moving forward with those. We initiated a climate emergency, council declared it, and we acted on it, but not to point anybody out, but I was kind of a lone wolf. I was the environmental councillor, and I have no background in that. So very much, if elected, looking for some support from the community. Again, we've got Gananoque Green online. We've got close to 350 followers, so I'm looking to pushing that. Le Festival was a bilingual concert that we put on this summer, and I want to do that again. I want to expand on that. I want to work with our partners like Cliff. I can see him staring at me, and doing that again next year. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, David. And Colin, back to you.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's very clear we have a lot of qualified candidates here tonight that have chose to champion many different issues to do with the town. As I said when I was up here earlier, I talked about affordable housing, but to add to that, we also have a housing shortage. It's not just affordable housing. Along with Catherine with tourism, Patrick's idea of the youth center, and the Kinsman Center. Kinsman Center has been a hot topic. That is, we need to figure out a plan for that going forward. Right now, I believe the boxing club is there for the foreseeable future, but long-term sustainability is part of my plan, and we need to figure out a plan of action going forward.
Thank you very much, Colin. Our next question, we'll start with Vicki. Oops, scratched off the wrong one.
What is the question?
Sorry, she said I was wrong. I was like, what? How do you plan to increase winter tourism in our town, and how would you improve and advocate on the current winter tourism?
Winter tourism. I'll take it. Well, it's funny because the that we've been over this like for so many years, and I'm surprised. How can our population be at 5,200 when we've got all those extra condos, the subdivision at Garfield, like we've got all these houses? Are we all of a sudden, did we have families of 10 and there's only one living in these places? Like it just does not make sense to me. But I've seen change, and it's positive change. So tourism in the wintertime, we've got a wonderful curling club. We need to capitalize on what we have in this community. There's a curling club. Yes, we have hockey and figure skating. And we've got wonderful theaters, like class act theaters. So yes, we can definitely bring people into Gananoque 12 months of the year.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, you're up.
So when it comes to winter tourism, I don't know. We have a municipality that has initiated a tourism advisory panel. I say let the experts do their job. That's not my expertise. Focusing on the town's atmosphere is paramount for tourism. Surroundings must be clean, presentable, and cleared of obstruction. Property standards can be an issue and should be enforced. Although I do have a concern of too much investment in only one economic driver, tourism income is discretionary spending. Other sustainable investment opportunities that provide a feedback loop into tourism is needed, like new home business concepts. I'm working hard to incorporate fresh new ideas into our new official plan.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie, you're up.
Tourism in the winter is the same as tourism in the summer. People come here to do something. We need to do something. What do we have for the winter activity? Well, we have hockey, we have curling, we have theaters, we have the hiking trails, and there's lots of things to do here. What we don't have is one access point where everything is put together so that people can go and have a look at it. I've heard many times people saying to me, well, there's nothing to do. It's not that there's nothing to do, it's that we don't have one place that they can go and have a look at it and filter it out through ages and activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, your turn.
I would advocate the need to have something to offer tourists year-round. A possible attraction to utilize are the hiking trails. They can also be used in the wintertime. Unfortunately, the competition for the tourist dollar is only 20 minutes away, and the ever-changing winter weather makes it almost impossible to plan any events that need lead time to advertise. This is where working with the local merchants need to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, you're up.
Well, there's been some really good ideas, I'm not going to lie. I think we need to listen to the community, and ultimately, I think, Vicki, you hit the nail on the head here. We need to utilize what we have in this town. We have some really nice shops. We have some great restaurants. We have the Royal Theatre. We have the Playhouse. We have the Canada 150 rink that was at the Capitol in Ottawa. We need to utilize these things that we have in this town. Ultimately, I'm open to more ideas, and I'm here to listen to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, your turn.
Okay, service clubs, like I said earlier, the Chamber, the BIA, they put on a wonderful festival of lights over the last couple of years. The Canada 150 rink is going to be a great event space for the winter, summer, spring, whenever. Hockey, curling, all those things are ways to promote our shoulder season tourism. I eat, sleep, and breathe tourism every day. It's what keeps the lights on at my house. I take it seriously, and I'll continue to work tirelessly to promote our town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine.
So clearly we have lots of assets. Clearly we've got lots of people that can put on events. What we're missing is a little bit of synergy, and I don't think it's a lot. When you talk about the organizations that promote tourism, Thousand Islands Accommodations Partners leads the way, and the Chamber, the BIA, the town, and all of the service clubs all work together in this. As far as marketing goes, working with the regional, provincial, and the national and international partners, there's no reason not to bring people in year-round. We're already doing it. We just need to work together a little bit harder. I just want to point out that Bonnie Reddick, who runs the RTO, is sitting here in our town and is a huge asset for us as well. Bonnie, wave.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, your turn.
Winter tourism is definitely a challenge. We're competing, but we can also coordinate with TLTI and Kingston when they're having events and we're having events. What can we do with our hotels and restaurants so people stop here and make their trip a 2-day trip? I think there is some risk about throwing too much money at winter tourism events, especially when, we know our prime season. I think we also need to focus on making sure that we're desirable and have a better stay when people come here, so they come for 3 nights, and they might want to come back in the fall if it's an amazing visit during the summer. We need to focus on our Francophone visitors. We need to find a way to get some New York plates back up here as well and be a little bit strategic. But there is some risk. We talk a lot about shoulder seasons and increasing them, but if we build it, they may not come. So we really want to also make sure we don't forget about focusing on our key season. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David and Colin.
So obviously, it's unfortunate that the boat line doesn't run year-round because firsthand, working at the hotels and doing some front desk work, when I get a customer or guest that shows up to the hotel and they ask information on the boat tour, and then if it's past the closing date, they look at me and they're like, what do we do now? And I come up with a bunch of ideas, but I think the curling club is very important to the community. Last year we had a few tournaments and we had some business come from that at the hotels. The Canada 150 rink, I think that's a great opportunity, picturesque. It was on Parliament Hill. It's a great opportunity to market it and bring people to the town of Gananoque. Hockey tournaments. The Kids for Kids hockey tournament at the end of March is one of the biggest hockey tournaments in Eastern Ontario. We open one of our hotels. If we can create a hockey tournament in this area, it will bring income and the businesses will benefit from that.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, you're up to recap.
Things are slow because we're coming out of a pandemic. We've got a great U.S. dollar, so we've got a source of tourists to come. Our dollar's low, so we should be an attraction for them. I think that we will build up, but it's time. The other thing I want to say, does anybody else remember when we had curling on the water and we had Rick Mercer come and attend? This town does things. So I think we just breathe, patience, and it's going to all happen.
Thank you very much, Vicki. We're halfway there. Marion, this one is starting with you. How do you plan to promote relocation to Gananoque of residents and businesses from larger cities?
I think Gananoque already does a fabulous job of having people come here. I think the tourism, when people come here and they see what we have, then they look at it and they go, this is the place where I want to be. So it's the community spirit. It's our grassroots, when I talked about the corner gas kind of a feeling. I think that feeling, so when people come here to visit, they get that feeling and then they want to stay here. So I think that's, and then as we just need to ensure that we have an opportunity for the young people to come here. We need to look at our official plan and say, how can we incorporate these young, new, working from home people that want to come here? And I think that can be done through housing. Having housing that actually builds those kinds of features right into them. We need to talk to our developers.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie, you're up.
How to plan to promote relocation to Gananoque from residents of a bigger city. Why should they come here? Because look at everything we got. That's what happened to me. I was attracted here. I saw the nature, I saw the hikes, I saw the beauty, I saw the quiet. It was a slower pace. It's a slower pace for seniors. It's got some programs. Young families can come here. It's affordable. They've got schools, they've got community and programs. We've got restaurants, we've got theaters, we got boutiques, we got arts and culture, and guess what? We got music. Let's dance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, your turn.
If we are trying to promote relocation to Gananoque, we need to address issues for all demographics. Seniors need affordable housing and an independent senior center. Families also need affordable housing and good paying jobs, and both need health services in place for the future. When we have these things, it will entice new businesses and possibly new industry to the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, you're up.
So one thing is that the pandemic has really changed the way the world is, and there aren't many positives of the pandemic, but one positive of COVID-19 is remote work. We're able to work from home now. Not everybody, but I started my career teaching with online working, online teaching. Wasn't very fun, I'll be honest, because I teach younger kids, but the thing about Gananoque is it's located very conveniently in between Toronto and Montreal. It is close to Kingston and Brockville. It's possible to commute. I do it daily to Kingston for work. So remote work, being close to larger cities, and it's a great choice. Gananoque is really beautiful, and that's pretty much it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, you're up.
I believe there's two kinds of people in the world, those that live in Gananoque and those that want to live in Gananoque. And if they don't know it yet, they're just missing out, right? I think that tourism is a big part of it. I can't tell you how many people stick their head in the wheelhouse window and say, I want to live here. And then we just start handing out brochures, try and bring them in, right? A lot of people are just passing by, maybe doing an Airbnb or just a hotel stay. And again, they get the taste for it. And once you get a taste for it, you have to come back for more. That's, I guess my point is I think this is happening on its own, but we can continue to promote it through advertising and tourism, really, and more inventory of real estate is coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine?
So two things on this topic. I think we all agree it's a wonderful place and everybody should want to live here. So one of the tricks is having people understand that we exist. So the Chamber of Commerce actually launched a relocation guide, and I believe it'd be incumbent on the council to support that. And for absolutely within tourism, we do attract people, but the Chamber has a specific goal in mind, and that is to invest in letting people know that we are here. Do I have time to do a quick story? The Skydeck, Heidi, came to town as a tourist. Her and her husband came to town as a tourist, and then they bought the Skydeck. They are a huge part of this community now.
Thank you very much, Catherine. That was worth the extra couple seconds. And thank you very much for the plug of the Chamber.
I'm going to switch mics. I wore my favorite shoes, so might as well show them off. I think if you walk around and you look at some of the restaurants, the Airbnbs and the inns that people have come here, some of them have come here because they came as tourists, or they had cottages or friends who had cottage, or they poked their head in and talked to Councillor Harper. So we can be a little bit more strategic around our service center to ask some questions. Why did you come to Gan? Where are you from? How long are you staying? Those types of things go a long way. We have everything else. We have the beauty. We have the amenities. We have 2 rivers. I think it's also important we look next door and give credit to some previous council. Look at that development. Show me another spot where you can get value for money, where you can leave your car in your garage, walk to this facility from your condo, walk downtown for something to eat, and go for a boat ride. We have a lot here. We don't need to shake the snow globe too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin?
I've spent quite a bit of time in some cities. I spent time in Toronto for a month a couple years ago, and then I went to school in Ottawa as well. And I love living in Gananoque. There's no comparison. When you're in those big cities, it's like you're living in a hamster wheel. You're running around, fast-paced, hustle and bustle lifestyle. If we're going to try to promote Gananoque from people in the city to come live here, we need to promote the kind of living that we have here and that's accessible to us. And that's a calm, slower lifestyle. The location, as Patrick said, we're located right between Ottawa and Toronto. And not just that, we're very close to the United States. In about 20 minutes from my door, I can be over into Alexandria Bay, going over to Watertown for dinner. So in order to bring people to town, we need to make sure the town's affordable, whether that's property taxes, water.
I think he's really afraid of me being right behind him, like I'm about to poke him. Vicky, your turn.
I think that there are lots of people that relocate to Gananoque. I look at some of the wonderful developments for retirement buildings and homes. Like, thank God Heather Howard built that complex, Fox Run. Like, if other developers had that vision, we would have the location in Gananoque. I'm not saying it should be a senior sleeping town, but it certainly attracts early retirement to a place that's beautiful. We've got active living. The trails in Gan are amazing. Living on Oak Street, I didn't realize how wonderful they are, but it's so country. So we're lucky, and I think they will come.
Thank you very much, Vicki. And Marion, back to you to recap.
I grew up in Toronto and lived a long time in the Barrie area, so I know what it's like to be in a big city. I came here because I liked the European feeling. When I came here to work at the casino, prior to COVID, the housing prices were depressed at that time. I do have a concern of the attraction of this town because it is going to increase our house prices substantially. So I really think that we need to focus on bringing young people to town, and they like it here. We do have conservation, and I'm out.
Thank you, Marion. I was waiting for the dinger. Oh. Perfect. And on to our next question. Anne-Marie, we're going to start with you. How do you plan to help Gananoque become more environmentally conscious, and what steps would you take to assist in its execution?
Thank you. What a great question. Becoming more environmentally conscious, especially in these times where we are worried about our climate. And we have adopted a climate action strategy. I would start with adopting a road program or something similar. Whenever I go through on a walk in the hike on the trails, I find a lot of litter, and I don't understand that, but I have my garbage bag and I pick it up. So adopt a road program. The shoreline cleanup that we do, let's do it more often. Let's keep it clean. Shopping local. Shopping local reduces the cardboard that is used by Amazon to come here because you bought somewhere else. Buy shop local. Our wastewater treatment plant, it's a septic tank. It's like a big septic. You cannot keep flushing things into it. Recycling bins in the downtown bin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bruce, on to you.
I believe we need to use more education on how important the 3 R's are. We need to address the dump hours to give citizens opportunity to dispose of recyclables. We need something here. We need to expand the composting project started by the town a few years ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, your turn.
Now, I do this every day, and I love it. It starts with kids at the school. You need to teach them to be responsible, be a responsible eco-citizen, to care about your community, to care about the town, to care about where you live. I think we need to focus on recycling, on green space and not concrete, on composting, community gardens. I saw that there's a community garden, at least I think it is, over by Oak Street condos. I love that idea. I think we should have a lot more of those. I would like to have one at my condo as well, too. And I think ultimately it's going to keep Gananoque beautiful and show people that we are proud to live here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And Matt, on to you.
Couple pages back on this one. So environmental, we've done some great things, and when I say I mostly mean Councillor Osmond. The environmental initiatives that the town has undertaken with Gananoque Green, the compost program, these are all your things. I'm just going to talk about them on your behalf. These are great things that, as a whole, the town has undertaken that are excellent initiatives. Over the last 4 years, I've been the town's representative on the Gananoque Conservation Authority, where we take a broader look at shoreline preservation and waterfront preservation. But I would continue to work towards environmental studies. We need to implement an environmental action plan and put steps in to complete those steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine, you're up.
So this is one of those what he said situations, and he is Councillor Osmond, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. I just know that the initiatives that the former council has put in place should be continued, and I would support that.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, you can take over my bike.
Gee shucks. They took all my good stuff. Thanks. Compost program, we had 72 different households take advantage of the compost program. Looks like a small number, but that's roughly 3 town blocks. If we continue with programs like that, it can make a difference. When it comes for recycling in public areas, honestly, it's a bit of a farce. It looks nice, but as soon as those baskets get contaminated, they all go to the dump. So whether it's at the arena or downtown, if there's a piece of gum in the paper or a piece of can in the cardboard, it goes to the dump. So we really need to be careful of that. I'd love to look at ideas. It's kind of out there, the idea of bring out what you brought in types of concepts. It shouldn't be the municipality or the residents' responsibility to pay for waste. If I'm going to a park, I should take out what I brought in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, on to you.
So obviously we have an issue with climate change. We see it around the world. So it's up to us. We have a duty to do the due diligence and make the proper decisions to help reduce our carbon footprint. So saying that, there's many ideas that we can go forward with. How about electric cars? If the town needs to purchase a new vehicle for the building inspector or maybe a police car, why don't we look into an electric car? Solar panels. Why don't we look at putting solar panels on some buildings, new builds that the town is doing, or retrofitting some old buildings? Composting project. Bruce had mentioned that, and I remember during the last election I had heard some rumblings about it, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard much since. E-bills from the town. I get most of my bills online. Why don't I get my property tax or my water bill online? Those are easy steps and easy solutions to reduce our footprint.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, up to you.
I'm coming at this differently. I want to thank the small businesses in this town that believe in the reuse. We've got 2 stores that allow people to take articles of clothing, good articles of clothing, and they reuse them. And that's excellent, because what's the alternative? In the landfill. Also, there's a takeaway day in the town. So people that if you have an extra table or if you have kids' toys, that is an excellent thing to promote, rather than have all these things stuck around your home and then 5 years from now when the kids are gone, throw them out in the landfill. So this whole principle of reuse is excellent. Official plan, waterfront properties. I'm sorry, I'm very, very, very key on we need to take care of our waterfront, and our official plan needs to be solid. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, your turn.
Hey, Dave, conservation and energy awareness, that's my wheelhouse. Active transportation needs to be incorporated into all new infrastructure. Full stop. Leave the car at home. I will support grassroots community programming. Keeping it local reduces emissions. Need to seriously explore the town food waste program that provides the highest reduction in emissions for the least dollars. On the smaller scale, because everything matters, curbside days. Yes, let's have them on a consistent basis. It's beneficial for residents and the repurposing businesses, entrepreneurs. Parks, let's have a take-in, take-out policy. Promote reduction first, then reuse, then recycle. Look at every dollar and idea through a green lens.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie, you're up.
I get to recap all of this. So let's educate, recycle, reduce, reuse, composting. Let's be responsible. Let's look after our green spaces, community gardens. Take out what you brought in. Reduce our carbon footprint, climate change, e-bikes. I love that. Reuse, do our transportation, and keep walking. Let's take pride in our community and keep it clean. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Or Anne Marie. I'm so sorry. I looked down at who started it or who went last. There's my one flub. This next question, we're going to start with you, Bruce. Many surrounding areas continue to live stream their council meetings so that multiple residents can tune in without having to personally attend meetings such as this. Would you encourage Gananoque Town Council to do the same?
First of all, yes. I believe that the town should stream council meetings. We need to understand that not everyone can attend council meetings in person for various reasons. In these uncertain times, we need to realize that citizens should have the option to stay informed with being on site or online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick?
My short answer is absolutely. I did so often. I participated online with the council meetings, and I loved it. I was able to do so from home while I was eating dinner. It was great, very accessible. People are busy. People are on the go, and this would make it more accessible for everybody. It would also help with misinformation, people who might not understand decisions. So I think it's a great idea. There's lots of pros to live streams. It's the way the world is moving, and I strongly support it.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, your turn.
Okay, this is a short and easy answer on this one, and the answer is yes. We should be streaming them, recording them so you can watch them later. Would be a great improvement to our already streamed service. I also encourage people to come live as we come more out of the pandemic and the chambers is accessible. Come watch the show. It's always entertaining. You can leave whenever you want if it starts to get boring, but it really doesn't. And yeah, so I hope to see you all there a few weeks from now. Thank you.
Catherine, you're up.
So, of course, that actually isn't a question, it's a statement, isn't it? Yes, we should be doing live streaming. The reason I think we should be doing it is not just so people can, so it's accessible, but I think it's an opportunity to actually promote involvement. So when people see and watch council, watch the goings-on, they might be more apt to say, oh, that interests me, or, oh, I actually know something about that. Maybe there's a committee. Maybe there's something I can help with. It could improve just folks getting involved. So yes.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, all yours.
Thank you. I'm okay with this one either way. I think it's important that you guys have access to the information, but I think it's important that council meetings don't become a performance. It can happen already as it is if there's a couple people in the audience that are very pro or con against something that's on the agenda. More often than not, whenever I've seen it for the municipalities, someone's just using it as a weapon of the councillor scratching their nose, freeze-framed, putting an image out there so it looks like they're digging for gold instead of answering questions. So it's really important that we think about that both ways. We have to look at cost as well. We do the Gananoque Council News now, which is kind of a briefing, so it's important to follow that. Any questions, we can follow up with them, but again, I'm pretty neutral.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, your turn.
I think holding the council meetings on live stream is essential. I think it's very important. It holds people accountable, creates transparency, and it makes things more accessible. Catherine hit the nail on the head. Not a lot of people, they might not know what's going on through the council meeting at that day, and they might have forgotten about it. So it draws interest from other people, but how about just putting it online is one thing, but if somebody wants to watch the council meeting online, they have to physically be like, okay, I have to watch the council meeting tonight. Why don't we put the council meetings on Facebook, live stream on Facebook? It's more accessible. Put it on the Town of Gananoque Facebook page. Then it makes it easy for people. They're scrolling through their Facebook feed. Everybody's on Facebook nowadays. It draws attention, gets people active, gets people informed. The town knows what's going on.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, your turn.
It's 2022, and why has it not been done before now? I don't understand. With the pandemic and all of the remote, the Zooms, no question, it needs to be done. However, there is a large communication. It's just not remote. It's just not having them live streamed. Council needs better communication to the residents in a paper form or some form, because not all of our citizens are gifted with computers and cell phones. That is a priority for at least 5 to 10 years. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion?
Live stream and record meetings, I say yes. Catherine did nail it. It promotes participation. But we also need other communication. Personally, I would like to say that I get an immediate response when using the website contact form. We do have great staff. The new councillor newsletter, that was a great idea. How about trying open councillor events that include a Zoom option? If you have more ideas, approach me. I will put it forward. Personally, I will continue to reach out to organizations and churches to build a good rapport, but I'm also not a mind reader. Let me know that you exist. I will scan Facebook and invite you to contact me, but I will not engage because of the rhetoric there. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne-Marie, your turn.
Number 9, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Absolutely. We've learned how to do the virtual thing. Come on, let's get with 2022. Let's tape our meetings and broadcast them on YouTube. And I believe a good retention period would be 3 months. That way you can go back and see the debates that got into the meeting. It's an open and transparency, and it holds a council accountable. It's a great communication tool with the community, and it engages involvement. Absolutely. Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. And Bruce, back to you to recap.
Just a quick recap. As it was mentioned, times are changing, and council needs to keep up with it. We all have the right to be informed.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Our next question, we're going to start with Patrick. During campaigning, many promises are made for full transparency and to make better decisions than previous councils. If you are elected to office, how do you envision communicating with constituents on a regular basis to keep this commitment?
Well, my email and my phone number have been published online, and I like that. I've been getting calls. I've been getting emails. I feel happy to be able to communicate with people from the community because I care about this community. I feel very privileged. I really do. You can call me. You can email me whenever you want, and I will answer you because I care. I work for you. I am your voice. I'm always open to discussing something. I'm very open-minded, and I'm receptive.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, on to you.
Anybody that knows me will tell you that I love to talk. It doesn't even have to be anybody in the room and I'll be talking. So my phone's always on, my email's always open. I have 3 or 4 different emails flying in at any given time of day. Most people in town seem to know where I work and where I live. Feel free to knock on my door, whether it's at the waterfront, at my home, wherever you like, and I'm always available to speak to you. As Patrick said, we work for you, and I'm here tonight because I want to work for you again for the next 4 years, and I'll be here to listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Catherine, up to you.
I guess the same, that I'm available. I've got a phone number, I've got an email address, I've got a Facebook page, all of that. But the first half of this question about the promises made and saying that we're going to make better decisions than previous councils, that just seems a little bit negative. I think that everybody who's stood for council, everybody who's tried to better the community gets my applause on this one. I know that we're all trying to do better, but the people that came before have paved the way for us. So my phone number's still there.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And David, your turn.
I'm getting the shoulder. Transparency has been something that's been really important to me in the last 4 years. Anybody that's on social media who follows most of the comments and things like that, I have engaged in hundreds and hundreds of comments and even probably 100 arguments. And you know what? That's not easy because it's not necessarily a fair environment. It's normally 1 versus potentially 500. I implemented Meet the Councillor Night. That was a successful program, but then COVID came, but I'd like to bring that back where we had dedicated nights where 1 or 2 councillors would be available around town. We tried a MyFM Ask a Councillor thing. It didn't really work all that well. Not everybody wanted to participate, but something that, again, we should look at. And that's it, really. Like, at the end of the day, we get lots of random phone calls at dinner time, and we have to make sure that we respond and answer those and have those conversations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, on to you.
When coming up with my campaign plan, I told myself I wasn't going to sling any mud, so I don't really like the wording of this question. Better than previous councillors. As Catherine said, I think the councillors that were before us in the previous council put their name forward, and they did us a duty, and they did their best. So online, My email's there, my phone number's there, my mailing address is there. You want to come knock on my door and talk to me? I'm always there. My phone number's always on, and I answer my emails usually within 24 to 48 hours. I like to listen, and I'm reasonable. If you call me, I'm going to listen to you. Let's sit down, have a conversation. Let's have a coffee. Let's get to know each other. I want to know what your problems are so I can help make the best decisions going forward and help you and help the community as a whole.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, on to you.
So these are very challenging times, and the one thing, I'm very saddened that our local newspaper that once held so much information on what went on in local affairs, that we don't have that person sitting there that's able to do that same level of reporting that we once kind of got accustomed to. Again, online, that's fine, but there's still a strong proponent of people that don't have computer access and don't have cell phones. If we do go to committee of the whole, I would be happy to sit and organize coffee and say, here's committee of whole, this is what we've done, this is what's going to council. What are your questions?
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, on to you.
I think we need to bring back more community panels, more opportunities for public consultation. A strong community equals strong economic growth. I'm always out walking. That's part of my exercise regime. And I'm stopping and I'm talking to people everywhere on the streets. I pop into businesses, how it's going. That's how I will communicate. Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people have ideas. Approach me. I will put it forward. And I want to work more with organizations and see what they need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne-Marie, on to you.
So communication is a two-way street. But it's paramount that we have that. So you have my brochure. It has my Facebook page. It has my email and phone number. It's already been heartwarming to have received many emails and messages. But it doesn't stop there. Every council does its best. COVID has closed it for 2 years. But we need to get back together, and we need your input as much as we need to communicate to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Bruce?
First, I will be available to anyone that would have a question for me. As I mentioned before, I am retired and able to devote the extra time needed to answer your questions, and if I can't answer them, find the answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, back to you.
Well, my shoe's undone. Based off what I've heard tonight, there's no question we're all here because we care. Honestly, we really do. Call us, email us, stop us on the street, talk to us. We need to be open. We need to work together. Transparency is key. We're here for you, and we are here to listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And for our final question for this evening, we get to start with Matt, who has so patiently waited for his turn to speak first. With tourism being a major driver for the local economy, in what ways would you support the recovery of the year-round tourism? Kind of swung back there.
It's very similar.
It turned out to be similar. The first one was winter, this one year-round.
Year-round and winter tourism, let's cover it again. Shoulder season events are really important. What was my earlier speech about? Yeah, so I want to continue to chair or at least be involved in the tourism advisory panel. What that panel does is we're collecting a municipal accommodations tax. Colin would know all about that. And we use those funds decided through a group of stakeholders to promote events. We give money to groups like Cliff Edwards and different organizers that want to have concerts or winter festivals and things like that. We need to continue to look for these events in the shoulder seasons and carefully weigh whether we'll get a return on our investment is also something to keep in mind. I would continue to work with TIAP, our RTO9, and any other agencies we can, the BIA and the Chamber and Rotary and Lions, all of them together to promote our town and keep people coming here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matt. Absolutely.
With tourism being a major driver for the local economy, in what ways did you support the recovery of the year-round tourism?
On to Catherine.
I was just trying to sort that question out in my head, what it actually was, and I'm just going to go a little left here. Tourism is in good hands. There's lots of good people, the Matt TAP committee, all the different factions. I don't know if people actually realize how important the service clubs and the volunteers are to the tourism industry. Without the Lions and the Rotary, and I know the kin, all of the different groups, the individual volunteers, the Chamber has their groups of volunteers. Without those folks, we don't really have a tourism industry, and that's what makes our town special. We hit way above our weight class in the world, and it's because of our amazing community.
Thank you very much, Catherine. David, your turn.
I'd like to lower my weight class if I could. I just to kind of touch on what Matt was talking about, I sit on the TAP committee as well, and one of the things that I implemented when I first joined it a couple months ago was scoring the applications where before it was kind of done by feel. Well, that feels nice. Let's give them $5,000. Well, that looks good. Let's give them $11,000. So we implemented a matrix where we can now track and find out, is this what we're looking for? We gave them money last year. Were they successful? Asking for reports back. That's important. I also think we need to make it a little bit easier for community people to start up new events. And sometimes that means getting out of the way as well, whether that's a pickleball tournament or a poetry contest, whatever that might need to be. We need to encourage people and also manage expectations so people aren't sitting on their hands waiting for council to come up with the next great idea, because odds are it might not be us.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, on to you.
Just this past week, I was at a Travelodge Canada conference, and at the beginning of the conference, there was a video. And in the video, there was a montage and a bunch of different clips from different areas in Ontario. And at the end of the video, there was a quote. "Tourism is the heartbeat of our communities, and they are never more so right. We need to promote Gananoque, and I can see it firsthand. You know, I can look ahead to next year at our forecast bookings with the hotels. 2022 was one of our best seasons to par. So we need to work with local governments, and whether we leverage funds with the RTO, work with the Chamber, work with CAP and Kingston Accommodation Partners, or Destination Ontario. There's plenty of ways that we can help tourism in this industry, and we need to put our best foot forward and help them with that."
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, on to you.
I think not only do we need to help tourism through the advertising and communication, and it appears that we've got that well under hand, but we have to help our tourist providers. We've got shortage of staff. We've got some real insurmountable issues for them that somehow we need to get a forum going and kind of get this relationship between employers and employees, get it working back again, get people happy when they serve you. We got to get the happiness back in the community. It's almost there, but we really got to pull and mentor and show happiness and appreciation, and I'm sure we'll get it back.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion?
So once again, the municipality has initiated a tourism advisory panel. I say let the experts do their work. What the town can do is we can focus on our atmosphere. The surroundings must be clean, presentable, and cleared of obstruction. So I'm going to just veer to talk about parking a little bit, because Gananoque desperately needs a holistic parking strategy that encompasses consistency throughout the town. This is not just a Gananoque problem, but we do need a Gananoque solution. What are other municipalities doing? Let's learn from them. I've seen many ideas like resident passes or specific parking areas. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to look at what's happening outside of our community and do something that works for Gananoque.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne-Marie, on to you.
It's been a tough 2 years for a lot of our industry. What really impressed me, though, was how innovative people were. We ended up with patios. Who had thought of patios before COVID? Let's promote Gananoque in all seasons and the things that we do here. The trails, the recreation, the theaters, the festivals that we have, they are all things that will bring in tourism. Let's work with other adjacent municipalities and partner with initiatives that brings tourism to the region. We do have a lot of volunteers that work here and are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Bruce, you're up.
Basically, I understand that the town relies on the tourist dollar. We are being, the advertising and the promotion of the town is going quite well. The last 2 years have showed us how important it is now to promote this town as a tourist destination, and I believe it will take time, but we will come back with the tourist business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick?
Well, we have so much here, so let's use it. Yet let's use what we have here in this community. Let's talk to the community. Let's listen to the community. I second the patios idea. I love that idea. I love that there's patios on Main Street. I love seeing the restaurants full. I love seeing tourists happy and eating locally. Use what we already have. Use the waterfront band shell, the Playhouse, the Royal Theatre. There's a lot more. There's a need for festivals in town. I would really like to see some more festivals. I love the French festival, Festival. I am a Francophone here in town, and I felt really happy to see that going on, and I honestly felt a lot more attached to this community. I felt very happy. Ribfest was a success. We need more of it.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, your final words?
All right, there's been a lot of great ideas thrown out here tonight. There's a lot of excellent candidates to pick from. Is Gananoque already a great place to live, work, and play? Of course it is. How are we going to make it better? I believe by working together. City Cruises needs to work with Brown's Hospitality. The tie-up's going to work with the town of Gananoque. All these organizations are going to come together to make what it is a better place. Music festivals, sporting events, all of it will be better if we work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. That concludes the debate portion of the evening, and I just want to say that that was absolutely fantastic. You all did amazing. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to give you all an opportunity to do your closing statements, and again, we'll go back to starting with Catherine.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I also want to say that I know that Gananoque is already a fabulous place to live and work. I've lived and worked here for 40 years. We have the best volunteers. We have an amazing community-minded citizens. We've got tons of arts, culture, sports, recreation, wonderful things. I'd really like a chance to sit on council. I've never done that before, and I'd like to contribute to further growth in this town. And I guess on an honest note, I'm doing this a little bit selfishly. I'm very curious and interested in learning new things and contributing in new ways. So I'm hoping that I get a chance to learn some new things this time.
Thank you very much. David, your turn.
Thank you. I think one thing we have to keep in mind moving forward is we also need to be a good employer. We have some absolute rock star staff. For example, our treasurer saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars through COVID. Those types of people need to have good jobs and they need to be rewarded. And that means sometimes as citizens, as hard as that is to say, we need to be a little nicer and a little easier, especially when it comes to social media. People are watching and people are listening. Believe it or not, when you go to a community now, people might go on Facebook and read the comments and see how we're getting along. We need to be a little nicer to each other. I think this work on council could and should be fun. I think it's important that we get out there and we engage and we have a good time in our community and that we treat you with respect and we get it back. I'd like to do a quick plug for the fountain. It's a great example of a collaboration. We've got a new fountain. It stands out. You can see it almost all the way from the waterfront. Our mayor got a bunch of different community organizations to pitch in. Those are the types of activities that we need to do. It's not one organization in isolation. I hope you, whether you vote tonight or over the next couple nights, I hope you select my name. It'd be my honor to serve you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Colin, your turn.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. There will be plenty of long discussions and hard decisions regarding the future of this town going forward. If elected, I will do the work and research necessary to make well-informed, reasonable, and responsible decisions at the table. I believe in working relationships, whether with town staff, fellow councillors, the fire chief, police chief, public works, or even the neighboring council in TLTI. We all need to get together and we need to work together. I'm on the Ontario Trillium Foundation Grant Review Team. We help with funding for non-for-profits and municipalities in Ontario. I grade applications for grants on infrastructure or operating costs. I take great pride in researching my decisions very thoroughly, and I will do the same if I am elected. The Gord Brown Canada 150 rink is tied to my name, as Gord was my late uncle. Conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest is not taken lightly. If elected, I will research and consult with all resources available to ensure my integrity stays intact regarding all decisions and votes. It takes guts to put your name forward. So thank you to the 8 other council candidates and 3 mayoral candidates. Elections and campaigns can get nasty, and from my opinion, this hasn't gotten that bad. Best of luck on the ballot.
Thank you very much, Colin. Vicki, your turn.
Thank you for the organization and the opportunity to speak to you. I think I've got more tools in my tool belt than just the fact that I'm an accountant. I've worked on many community boards. I work hard to work as a team with these community boards and to move us forward. This town's very important. I am not going anywhere, and I truly hope that if you have any questions, you email me, you phone me. I'd be very happy if there's a specific concern that you want to ask me. I've had some emails and phone calls. They've been great. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate what the people in this town do for the town of Gananoque. So thank you, because honestly, the people here, the residents, are the ones that make it when people come into this town and they want to come back. It's because of you. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you very much, Vicki. Marion, your turn.
A huge thank you to the Chamber, all of you for attending, and those watching on video. I have the motivation, commitment, and possibly the insanity by attending council and budget meetings for the last 8 years, but I believe that history brings continuity to ongoing discussions. My background in finance with a passion in economics ensures my views incorporate a wide range of information. Gananoque does not operate in a bubble. I'm curious, a researcher that asks the tough questions, an empathetic listener that is flexible and adaptive, a no-nonsense person. You might not like what I have to say, but it will be the truth. In all aspects of my life, I believe in the philosophy, leave it better than you found it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. Anne Marie, you're up.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event. And second, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out tonight. We are just so fortunate to live here in Gananoque. Foremost, we are a town of about 5,200 residents who call this beautiful place home. We are also a tourist destination niched in the Thousand Islands. The people that I meet enjoy our town for its nature and its friendliness. Lucky us, we live here. I'm excited for Gananoque and the prospect of being part of the next council, one that is based on team building and working with the community to do what is best for all of us. Together, we can make it so. I ask that you vote for me so I can support you. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Bruce, on to you.
In closing, I believe that the next 4 years are going to be a tough challenge. Council will need to balance the needs of our citizens to the needs of the tourist, and do all this and stay in budget. I believe that this can be accomplished by listening to our residents, merchants with compassion and integrity. We need a council that will be able to work together and prioritize the town's needs that will face in the 4 years coming and the future. The one promise I can make if I'm elected is that I will work hard and, if needed, put the extra hours in for the citizens of Gananoque. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Patrick, you're up.
Now, I had prepared a closing statement here, and I decided to write something different here because tonight has given me a lot of hope. It showed me that there's people here that care about this town as much as I do, and I really do care, honestly. As I said, I'm the youngest candidate running here tonight, and I offer a new perspective. I offer a fresh perspective. One question that was actually sent to us by email that was not asked tonight was, how do your friends and family describe you? Last night, I asked 4 people. I just want to share how my mother described me. I asked her to describe me with 3 words. The 3 words she chose were hardworking, devoted, and trustworthy. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to learn. I want to be your voice, so please vote for Patrick Kirkby. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Matt, we're at you.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming. It's been a great night, a lot of great talk tonight. I hope that if anybody hasn't already decided who they're voting for, that tonight has been a helpful tool for you to decide. I'm not going to make a bunch of promises, just that I will continue to work hard for you. I'll continue to answer my phone and reply to emails. I first ran for council. I had the idea that I had somewhat mastered my day job and I needed more. I'm always looking for more. And I haven't mastered this yet, so please let me continue to get a hold of it. Please vote for Matt Harper. I'm going to try and stay here tonight as late as Councillor Osmond, and we'll be here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. And thank you all for joining us this evening. Special thanks to our wonderful candidates. Special thanks to Your TV, which also will be airing Wednesday on Cogeco Your TV at 8:30 p.m. You can check that on channel 700. I'm sorry, I don't have cable, I'm not sure. And you could also check out their YouTube channel as well, that they'll be posting it on Your TV Kingston. So that's YouTube, Your TV Kingston. Again, also thank you so much for the Firehall Theatre, again, allowing us the space this evening to get you guys the information that you need to know before ticking that box. We invite you to join the candidates on the floor here in the lobby afterwards. And I just also want to say thank you very much to Jan and Sue with the Chamber of Commerce, putting all this together and keeping us on time and keeping us all organized. And again, thank you so much all for coming, and hope you guys have a wonderful evening.